Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about kog'maw, one of many options in your goal for the victory screen. But why kog'maw? Why not pick a more popular character? And to that I say, damage. Pure raw power. The kind that can shred through tanks and blow up squishies even faster. If you can name me one character that has a higher damage per second, I will eat my own shoe. But such power does not come without a price. Glaring weaknesses, so off-putting that he is almost never picked. Now, what would these weaknesses be? The fact that kog'maw only has one ability, he has very poor movement speed, he has no movement altering ability, he is very squishy, he loses every early game matchup, and gets focused in every team fight. Now, you might be wondering to yourselves, with so many weaknesses, how good could the damage be? If you are willing to suffer these flaws, well, just take a look. Now that we have a good idea of what kog'maw can do, let's move on and focus on how to get to this devastating late game and the mindset you should have whilst playing this void puppy. First up, let's get into the mindset by taking a look at kog'maw's lure. Kog'maw was but a child when he came into Valorant, lost and scared, searching for his mommy. In this case, his mommy would be Malzahar. What does this say to us about playing kog'maw? Nothing really, I just wanted to put in this lure segment. Let's move on to the ability explanation. His passive is I done goofed. It allows you to turn around in a losing battle, trying to kill your opponent in a kamikaze attack, and watches them walk away with but a single HP. Your Q ability is slow moving spit attack. This stops you from auto-attacking for a second and decreases your DPS. Your W is Bio Arcane Barrage. This doubles your attack speed, gives range, and gives on-hit damage. This is the one that allows you to kill your enemies before they realize that they're fucked anyway. Your E is Slightly Better Q. This is the same as Q. It also stops you from auto-attacking, but puts down a slow, allowing for a wider window for more auto-attacks. And finally, your R is Flush Mana. This is a ranged area of effect ability that scales on missing health and costs more on consecutive uses, only use when building AP. Now that we know what kog'maw's single ability is, let's move on to what he would be wearing in battle. His runes would be flat attack speed with some resistances, and your masteries is anything actually, as long as you get further of battle. And your starting items would look something like this. Let's move on to the laning phase with some sweet tips and tricks. There are some things you can do in the early game to survive, such as playing passively, or you could try playing passively, but my personal favorite option by far is playing passively. Like I said earlier, one of kog'maw's greatest weaknesses is he is weak early game. You can't win fights early on. 1v1 is impossible for you in the early game. So don't pick fights, just farm. And try and tell your support this as well. But if he does end up getting himself killed, just think of it this way, you probably didn't need that EXP leech anyway. You're going to hit your peak sooner now. Remember, your goal is to survive the early game and come out even with your laner, since you scale much harder than they do. I guess in some way you actually then come out ahead. You might even try investing in buying a coal. Maybe you can hit your late game faster that way. But your first major item will be an attack speed one, depending on what the game demands. Blade of the Ruin King is a great one for some sustain. You can get Hurricane for wave clear and Rage Blade for some truly terrifying damage. And your second item will be one of the two you left out. And the third item will be Static's Gauge. Now hold up. The hypothetical viewer said, why Static's Gauge? Well, let's take a look at my thought process. Actually no, I'm just going to explain why. Kog'maw is soft. Really soft, squishy. If the wind blew hard enough it would probably knock him over and he would die. So just give him a bit of tankiness. I did a bit of math and Static's Gauge at level 18 is about 1100 effective HP considering the shield passive. That beats Warmogs by the way. And Kog'maw already does more than enough damage with only 2 attack speed items. So yeah, that's why you get Static's Gauge. The rest of your items doesn't really matter, but I recommend more tanky items for better consistency, such as Banshee's Veil or Frozen Mallet. But you might as well get attack speed and damage as well, since they use stats cannot hurt you. We have a general idea of what Kog'maw can and cannot do, as well as what he needs to succeed. But that's all just words on paper, we need an example, so I'm going to show you some clips with an attached explanation as well. I am level 1 against the kill lane, where their goal is either to harass me out of lane or kill me. So I pick up a point in W and focus on leveling that over my other abilities, so I can last hit from a safe distance. At level 4 I notice the enemy Zyra has been missing for quite a while, so I assume she has recall. I try and get some free harass on the Azir, seeing that it would be a 2v1. Unfortunately the Zyra was within the bush, thus forcing me to back off and recall. I then pick up my Vamp Scepter for the sustain it offers. At level 6 my support gets caught out trying to zone the enemy. I walk over to her trying to assist her by laying down a slow. Unfortunately the Rengar comes to gank our lane and she dies. Luckily our jungler shows up as well and we trade support for support. But the fight continues as our Ahri catches out the enemy Lissandra. The Rengar jumps in to help her, our team collapses on the Rengar, and finally, as the fight draws to a close, the Azir grows greedy and tries to get a free kill on our Ahri, but he ends up dying himself. We trade 4 for 1 in our favor. After the fight I quickly push the wave, trying to make the Azir miss 2 waves of minions. My Morgana lands a binding on the Azir, then walks up to him trying to ult him. Luckily the Zyra walks closer to the Morgana trying to help the Azir. She gets caught in the ult as well. Seeing as I am too far away to help kill the Azir, I focus down the Zyra instead. Seeing that she has no escape abilities, this was an obvious free kill. Shortly after, my Morgana lands a binding on the Azir again. Just out of tower range I could attack him for another free kill. I recall for my first major item, the Blade of the Ruined King. From here on I can farm at my leisure, picking up kills whenever my Morgana lands a binding. Unfortunately, this causes me to become cocky. I chase down the Azir too deep into their base and get ganked by a Rengar. Luckily my support throws herself at the beast, allowing me to farm the next few waves in peace. Here, I see my jungler in the area, so I try and kill the Azir, thinking that my jungler would come and assist me. Unfortunately, I die. Seeing the mid tower still standing, I went there as soon as I respawned. And on the arrival I am rewarded with a fight that turns out in our favor. We end up trading 1 for 2 plus a tower. On my way back down to bot lane I get caught out and trade 1 for 1 with my passive, granting me enough gold to buy the runons. And just in time as well. As I respawn I go bot to push again. And on my arrival I notice that I am being flanked by the enemy team. We move through the enemy jungle and a fight breaks out in a tight choke point, allowing me to deal great damage with my Runans. We then start cheesing bot again and pick up a 3 kill on the Azir, but I took too much damage for this, allowing the enemy Rengar to clean up afterwards. I then buy the statics gauge. But from this point on the game is pretty much just a steamroll, so I'll just put up the rest of the kills and diffs for your enjoyment.